Welcome to episode number.
Episode number?
Episode number
Episode number.
54.
I knew that.
No, you didn't. You did not.
That was so funny.
Yeah, we were off last week. Had to flag that because one of us, actually both of us, we were both really sick.
Okay, no. I was really sick.
No, we were both sick. I used my amazing immunity and I did like a good boy. I did steaming religiously. In 2 days, I was okay. And Natasha took a whole fucking week to get over the thing. And we have discussed this. She will refute it now, but we have discussed this. This time,
Yeah, it was me.
she
okay.
gave me the flu. It wasn't the other way around. Last time when I gave it, she gave me so much hell.
Because it was cold. It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And we were like stuck in the house.
But I didn't give you hell, Tash, when you gave
You
me the
did
flu.
in my health. My health went through hell.
Okay, all right. But we were thinking that we're one of the things that we decided that we'll do is that we'll span out episodes around the wedding and wedding guides. So this is another episode where we'll be doing that. Once Natasha chews the rice that is in her mouth that has come out.
Nice.
Whatever it is, she's just chewing it right next to my ear.
It's Frutella.
It's Frutella. It came back out.
No, I was eating
No,
it.
you're still eating it. Oh. Yeah, Natasha went on a candy binge yesterday and bought a lot of candy for us.
Yeah.
So now we have lots of candy in the house.
Do you want to tell them why I went on candy binge?
Why? Tell me also.
Because when we were in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
Archit decided to go and pick up some lollipops.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, he brings me a lollipop and it was really bad. Green apple. So I gave mine away to him. And then I was like, I didn't get a good one. So then I wanted to order some lollipops.
There's some cola one if you want.
Blech.
You don't like cola also.
Strawberry only.
That one's over.
That
You
was the
ate
best.
them all.
There was one.
No, there were like 4.
There were 2.
So from
Maybe.
1, you've gone to 2.
Okay, because from my 1, you went to 4.
Because there were 4.
There were not 4.
She's eaten 4 lollipops. She just doesn't
I've
know it.
eaten.
Eaten.
I had 2
all right.
max.
All right, Tashu. Let's not deviate. Let's get
we're
to...
already talking about food.
Let's get to...
I guess we know what we're talking about today.
What are we talking about, Tashu?
Food.
Food?
Catering.
Catering.
Uh-huh.
So the guide... This is like Natasha's guide to catering.
It's not my guide. I think it's our... With food, I think it's our guide.
Okay. Our guide to wedding catering. Natasha, do you want to start with
The coolest thing.
Put us in the setting. Where were we when we were making this decision? Like last year, I think it was Feb?
It was this time.
Yeah. March. Yeah. So like March onwards is when we'd started deciding on who would be catering our events. At this point, had we closed the farm? I think we had. Yeah. So we'd closed the farm. Natasha had already gone and done some shopping for the wedding started.
I had gone once.
Yeah.
And found something that I'd liked.
Yeah.
And been like, okay, like this is a good option.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to look. But my plan was like for a November wedding, I didn't want to have my clothes ready in January. So I waited up until like June, July to actually get like things made.
Mine also started in July.
Yeah, you started and ended in July.
Yeah.
I started in January.
That's another
ended
episode.
in like fucking...
That's another episode.
Ended 2 weeks before my wedding.
Yeah.
So anyway, so food.
So we'd started in March. I think one of the things that that became very easy for us to figure out was who to tap in terms of like who to contact for catering, because we've gone for events. We've also had like family who's seen a lot of weddings. So everyone kind of knows someone and someone's food that they have liked.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard from just like word of mouth to figure out who we wanted.
Yeah.
The one person that we had thought of a while ago actually was so Taj has their own catering service which is called
Culinaire.
Solinaire. Solanair, and we had their food at a Google event, and we really enjoyed it to a point where like this was when we hadn't gotten engaged. Also, we were discussing that this is a good.
It was
caterer
like
for
August of 2022.
Yeah.
So a month before we got engaged.
Yeah, a month before we got engaged, that we were like, damn, these guys are really good. We should like hold on to them for future events and things like that.
And like their food was just, I think they do generally do a mix of everything. But at the event, it was for Independence Day. So it was very like Indian themed. And then it was like modern Indian.
Yeah.
But not like Farzi Cafe.
Yeah.
Modern Indian. It was just like Indian, but like with like presented better.
Yeah. So we had liked them. We didn't end up doing anything with them, but like that was just like a reference in our head of like, okay, there is good food in terms of catering, and that can be achieved. So I think throughout the process, we were just looking at things and like benchmarking them towards Solanair. Unfortunately, Solanair never came back to us.
They did. They were extremely expensive.
Really? They were more expensive than what we chose?
Yeah.
Damn.
They were really expensive.
So clearly like they were just out of our budget, but that's what we were aspiring towards. I think that's the first like lesson for all of you if you're planning weddings, is like if you're finding food vendors, think of like who it is that whose food have you liked. It's not only that you may end up going with them, but it at least gives you a benchmark of like what you want at your wedding. And that's really important because like, one, you're not going to be eating a whole lot of your food.
You're not going to eat any of it.
But the second thing is that like it is one of the things other than photographs that people remember the most at a wedding.
People don't remember photographs. Like people who are attending don't like, think of any of that. They won't even like 10 years down the line look at a picture from our wedding and be like, oh, I was there.
I think like
but
10 years down the line
they'll be like unki shaadi pe khana acha tha.
But but even the fact that 10 years down the line the photo will still be there, right? Like as a memory, because you have photos.
So your comparison was wrong.
No, I'm just saying that like
can I just stop you there?
The things that you will remember from the wedding are going to be the things that are in a photo and the food.
Can I just stop you?
No.
You started, you're like, Natasha, why don't you set the context for this episode? And then you've just been talking for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I feel like you don't have any structure at the moment, but I feel like you will have lots more.
Why do I have to have structure? This is a conversation.
Okay.
Conversations are not structured. They just kind of like, they're just erratic.
Go right ahead then, Natasha.
No, you can finish your nonsense.
I'm done. Go for it. Over to Natasha. She's gonna take us through this.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna stop. I keep stopping you. I'm gonna correct something you said. The reason we started looking at food was because while we were looking for venues, there were some places that were saying ki they do food themselves. Yeah. So actually that's where it began. So we were at Zorba and we'd done a tasting, and like the two of us were actually kind of like all right with it. We weren't like, oh, this is amazing food, but we were okay with it. But our parents weren't happy with it. So then like we ended up basically going to another restaurant that does the food for Zorba or something. And then that's kind of actually when we started thinking about like food as well. Everything you said was correct. Like I think it's best to try to think about weddings you've attended and you've liked the food there, because that kind of helps you understand what you're actually looking for and sets a benchmark for you. It's very easy actually to find caterers.
Yeah.
It's this like, it's actually all word of mouth, but like all these caterers are also present all over social media. So like you're seeing their food. They also have the worst social media presence.
Yeah.
Like their videos are horrible.
Across the board.
Everything except for Solanair.
Yeah.
Solanair is a good job. Everything's like nighttime and the decor is tacky, and so the food doesn't look good and all of that. But like the really interesting thing that we learned doing catering, tastings or whatever, is that you get to crash a wedding.
Yeah. I think that's also like a problem within the system itself. Like how Natasha is saying, like they don't have good photographs or anything. There are no references to what you're going to eat or get. Like even if you see a menu, you have no idea if the food is good or bad. And nobody does tastings for you specifically. Even at the highest levels, like, and that's really funny because like if you remember like Western movies, and Natasha of course has this deep memory.
I was gonna say that I always imagined as a child that when I was gonna get married, I would be going for like cake tastings because I always saw that in some show I used to watch on TLC, and I used to be like, this is the most fun thing that can happen to you is you walk into a restaurant and there's like 8 varieties of cakes and you're just like trying them. Like, what a life, right? So I always expected it to be like that. I don't know what's up with my throat. I was totally fine earlier.
Because you haven't talked this much in a while.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I'm dying. Anyway, so like, I always expected it to be like, like you come in and then like one dish after another is served to you on this platter and you're making notes and you're like, the chicken is good, but it's a little like overdone, or like
Natasha did that at Zorba.
The meat's not tender enough, like that was my dream and it really wasn't that.
So that doesn't happen. But and it's a problem because like it's also just like it's because the industry is so disorganized. Like the wedding industry is crazy. There is no organization across the board. Everything is word of mouth. There is no like level of like professionalism in that sense. Like nobody's looking at time trackers and looking at getting back to you with deliverables. Like nobody sets meetings. It's just like hum aa jayenge, and then like weekend pe 4 baje ka 5 ho jata hai, 5 ka 6 ho jata hai. Everything was very disorganized because of that. And like we're me and therefore Natasha also, we're like highly planned people.
I was planned before we met.
I know, but like what I meant is like your weekends were never planned, and I would do that to you before you get onto another eruption. Choke on that diet coke. No, you don't.
I'm gonna spit it on you.
You're gonna ruin your own sofa.
I'll spray sanitize.
And so all of that is an issue with the wedding industry across the board, and food is definitely like that. The reason why I took this tangent was to explain to you why you have to attend weddings. So now, tell us about attending weddings.
Okay. Firstly, before you went on the rant about how disorganized it was, I was going to come up with a scam this episode. My scam is I'm going to scam all the catering companies, especially our caterers, because we didn't get to eat our food, and be like shadi uri and like give like fake names, whatever, like talk to people or like bring our friends and then go as their plus ones to go into catering.
Make Vaishnavi do it.
Yeah,
I'm talking on behalf of.
I really just want to try that food again.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Scam aside, because the reason I'm talking about scams is because of watching White Collar.
Yeah.
And he's a con artist.
Yeah. I think one of our episodes is going to be White Collar at some point, guys.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, you should. If you don't want to, it's totally fine.
No, you must.
It's a missable show, honestly. It's a missable show.
It is not.
It's great if you get into it. If you don't get into it, you're not losing out on like world pop culture.
You're missing out on Matt Bomer's face.
Yeah.
And I think that's a crime.
That's true. But it's not like if you don't watch The Office, half the jokes that you'll crack with your friends don't land, or like memes don't work. There is no meme about White Collar.
Okay, but that's rare with the show.
I mean, most shows in that time have done that. Like Suits also has done that.
No, tell me one joke from Suits. I dare you. I triple dare you.
The biggest joke is that one of them became princess and then left.
That's not a joke.
That's a joke only.
Archit, say you lose.
No.
I lose.
No.
I lost. Archit lost.
When we do the episode on White Collar, we can have a deeper discussion.
I'm gonna come up with jokes. Anyway, okay, so here's how it goes. You find a caterer, you make a call, you talk to them, tell them how many like guests you have, what are the cuisines that you kind of want to like
Yeah.
incorporate.
Pro tip: always say 50 less of the people that you have.
A tip we didn't follow and ended up paying way more than we should have paid. So whatever, and then they're like, ठीक है, like शादी हो रही है, आप आ जाओ tasting के लिए.
किसी और की शादी, it's not like आपकी शादी, किसी और की शादी हो रही है, आप event, they don't say शादी हो रही है, they're like event हो रहा है, आप आ जाओ. Okay, you have to tell me one of your favorite, your most favorite
most
break-ins.
memorable.
Yeah, most favorite break-ins, and I'll do one.
Okay, but
we've done in collectively, Natasha's done more, but we've done about 13 of these break-ins.
I think more. What's my criteria for favorite?
That's for you to decide, no?
Like I think
like the one where you were like most out of place.
Actually, I've had two and you haven't been there for either.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and you haven't been there for either.
Tell them about the one where you whacked the bottle also.
Oh, that was different. That was actually not horrible. It was
the crowd was horrible.
Yeah, the crowd was horrible, but the place was not.
Yeah.
It was at Leela in Delhi.
Yeah.
And the caterers, we actually ended up using them for the mehendi. I'm blanking on their names right now, but it was something really weird.
Yeah, for chaat. They were very good for chaat and all. Yeah.
So we'd gone, and my mom and I had gone, and it was the worst day for Delhi traffic. We were stuck on the road for like 2 hours or something. And I was dying to pee, and I was like really upset that we had to go and do this.
Yeah.
And then we get there, and then the guy just keeps making us wait outside because, I mean, nice of them that they didn't want us to crash the event that was happening, but it wasn't an event. It was like these really loaded people, and they'd already had some event, and then it had gotten over, and the guests had gone back to their rooms, and then they had a tea, like chai time.
Yeah.
And so they again arranged for khana.
Yeah.
I was like, how much money do you have?
How much food can you
let
eat?
people eat themselves, man.
Yeah.
Let them pay. Anyway, I mean, they were also like keeping all their guests at Leela. Like, must be rolling in money. So it was one of those. And I was like, nobody gives a shit. Like, just let us fucking come and eat your fucking food and like get it done with.
Yeah.
And they would just make us wait outside in the lobby for really long. And then one of the waiters comes in with these really fancy bottles of water. And I was like, this looks like something I should steal. And lucky for me, it was back in the day I used to still carry my Longchamps.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big bag.
Yeah.
So I just threw one in.
Yeah.
I should have taken two.
Yeah.
We still use them. And funnily enough, it's such a funny story. One of my lehengas, the guy who made it, when he gave the lehenga to me finally, he gave me a potli with it. But the potli wasn't a regular type of potli. It kind of looked like a bag for a bottle. And the bottle that I had stolen fit perfectly into that. And the cap was like
metal,
rose gold.
Yeah.
And the potli was pink.
Yeah.
And so it looked really like cute. So that's funny. It kind of like it was like full circle.
Cute story.
Yeah, but that's not my most memorable.
What's your most memorable?
There are two.
Yeah.
One is I was sent to some random fucking part of Gurgaon. You know how much I hate being outside of main Gurgaon.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just want to live in the phases, the DLF phases.
She's such a brat.
And nowhere else. And I was sent off to some fucking shithole in Sona Road. And I had to go and like park in the kacha rasta and stuff. And then, I'm not gonna say anything. It's a little offensive. But you guys get it.
No.
They get it.
No. Yeah. I don't get it. It was like a gaon.
Yeah, it was like
You went into a gaon ki shadi.
It was kind of like a Haryanvi wedding.
हाँ, तो गांव की शादी थी.
It wasn't a gaon ki shadi. It was just like a different set of people.
If you wanted to be polite, you could have just said गांव की शादी है. You don't have to explain है कि नहीं है ना. उसी में खत्म हो जाता. नहीं, पूरी राम कथा.
It almost felt like people had guns.
Yeah.
There.
So it was like just an unsafe wedding. Like it didn't feel like safe for her, and that's
and my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom was really sick, poor girl. She like ate something and she threw up instantly. It was bad. So that was one. And we were really, really upset with the caterers. Because we were like, what the fuck? Why? And these guys are actually like they were a big name in the chart world.
Okay.
And then another one
Yeah.
I had to go for was in Ambience Islands.
Okay.
The place is massive, and they were being really like annoying about like parking. Again, it was some like government adjacent type of wedding, so like a lot of security and like yahan pe park mat karo and stuff. And then I like fought with the people, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I went inside and like, babe, I don't know how to explain to you how big the space was. It was like as big as the circumference of where we're staying right now.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And there was food in like every
It's
corner.
a house. That was how big the house was.
No,
like
it was like a hall or
hall
something.
indoors.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was wild. And it was really tacky.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that was a really funny one to be at.
Two of my favorites
Okay.
were, one was when we went to sauna, deep sauna. So my dad, Natasha and I, we went to a little farmhouse ahead of like Sona Road, ahead of like,
It was in Sonagaon.
yeah, it was in Sonagaon. And it was very far to get to. Lots of like winding roads, middle of the night. There was a point where the road just gave up. Like the map said you have to go here. There was no road.
Yeah.
And it was a dry riverbed, and we had to go underneath a bridge, literally underneath a bridge that was like undone.
Yeah, we were driving in like marshy land.
Marshy land, yeah. And then we reached the place, and it was such a painful time to get there. And then we did finally. We started eating the food there, and then we started realizing that the people in this area, like in the wedding, are people that we know. And then Natasha realized that the people who are getting married were from our school,
Like way older.
way older. But like some of the younger alumni were there, and we
Yeah.
were like, shit, we're gate crashing a wedding where people know us, and
Yeah.
like they didn't invite us. And I thought,
I mean, we didn't know them like
and
for the
Natasha,
wedding invite.
Natasha too anyway was just like, if I go for a wedding, I will wear Indian so that I can blend in. This was like my 5th or 6th taste test. So
Taste test.
I had just like given up. I'm like, I'm gonna wear the most like generic looking clothes so that the caterer gets screwed over for inviting me. By the way, did you ever see anyone from at the wedding who looked like right?
But I feel like at the wedding I reached a point where I was like looking at people, but I wasn't registering who they were.
Yeah.
It was really hectic.
Yeah.
So even if there was someone from outside, like I would have never
Yeah,
known.
Natasha was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make sure nobody comes at our wedding," and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
really,
sure
I really wanted bouncers. Nobody took me seriously.
For whom? All your lovers.
No, for gate crashers.
She has lots of lovers, by the way, guys. Like that's another.
We've
episode.
discussed this.
That's another episode.
It's really not.
It'll be a one-on-one episode.
Anyway, one
Just
second.
me
So
and
the
the audience.
food actually at that wedding was quite nice.
Yeah.
But they had like 100 dishes.
Yeah, it was
And we were like-
endless.
If you're gonna make so much food, you're not gonna be able to perfect all of it.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, we ended up doing a lot of dishes as well.
yeah.
But whatever.
So,
And they had churros.
they had churros. I mean, it was a good experience, and like again, all of these taste tests are not bad. You just end up eating a lot of very similar food.
Yeah.
You kind of get tired of eating all the food, but it's also fun because you get to see how like different weddings are portrayed. What are the different ways in which you can showcase your meals? Like by the end of it, we started realizing how we would want to like place things.
Yeah.
How does that relate to the people who might be eating it, and also like how do you bring in more of your own references? So like our food we had.
Nah, we explained right at the end.
Okay, fine.
Wait. I had to say something else.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay. So that.
I remembered.
Yeah.
So even when you're going for caterings, all caterers have a different way of displaying the food to you. So like some of them will let you walk around and like help yourself, but because you're crashing a wedding, they don't prefer it. So then they'll like seat you down at a table, and then like food keeps coming to you.
Yeah.
And that was the dream.
Yeah.
That was the dream I had.
Yeah.
But the amount of food
Yeah.
that comes, and there's one guy attending to you and he's snapping his finger and food's coming.
Yeah.
And then again he's snapping his finger and then food's coming. It was so much.
Yeah.
It was so hectic.
Yeah. It is very cool. And like
I think I had the most respect for the salt guy.
Salt guy, yeah.
Because he sat us down inside an office at the venue and fed us there.
Yeah.
As opposed to like us being in everybody's
Salt
face.
was actually really cool. Again, that was the wedding that we went to. It was in a banquet hall. Salt is SALTT. They are by far one of the best people that we've like engaged with for food. We ended up not taking them, but we really liked their meals. And next time we will either get our caterer because we still have to eat their
Who's
food.
next time?
Next time when it's like your brother's wedding.
No, we're getting our caterers.
Yeah, but also Salt is an option.
No.
Sure, because Natasha's going to decide all the food in all the weddings in the future. So they had a really cool concept, which was they had like on one side all the chart, on the other side they had all the live counters, like the pizzas and charcuteries and pastas and things like that. And in the back they had 5 different mini restaurants.
They kept calling them pop-ups.
Pop-ups or whatever. And basically each restaurant was run by a different MasterChef India like contestant or winner or whatever, I don't know. And they were doing like Asian, Italian, and a couple of others.
And then they actually had like they built it like it was a restaurant, so you could like seat like 5-6 people there, and like it was like an enclosed space, so you could actually feel like you were at a restaurant at the wedding.
Yeah. So that was definitely that was a very unique experience overall, and I think that like if you were to go for a super fancy caterer, then those guys are definitely in the running.
Yeah. Cool. So now we'll come to our caterer and how we kind of like went about that. I mean, I guess everybody has kind of understood what catering looks like or like tastings look like. So for us, it was really a lot of talking to them, telling them what we prefer as like cuisines and food and stuff like that. I think they'd given us, and everybody does this, everybody gives you a list of all the dishes that they could possibly do, and then they kind of let you pick and choose, but they have some preferences as well. And like considering they're experts, they also know what works with like the general audience
yeah,
market.
What works with the general audience, what works in the time that you're doing this at, and then how do you pair it with the other things and things like that.
So a lot of times what you will decide on is not something that you get because it just doesn't make sense to them. We obviously have to do a lot of fighting for that. Remember when I was like, nahi, we must have 2 tables and we must have pizza and dim sum on one side and khao soi and something on the other side. Remember that? And he's like, maybe it cannot happen. I was like, make it happen. It was hectic. It was fun.
Do you want to tell people what the caterer's name was?
Yeah, you can do it.
You tell them.
Okay, so our caterer's name, catering company's name was the Kitchen Art Company, TKAC. It's run by this man called Puneet Sikand, and is probably one of the best caterers in Delhi. I do think that there's another caterer who's very good. Yum Yum Cha does really good catering, but we didn't go with them.
Yeah. So,
Puneet
Sikand, and they were by far one of the best options that we'd gone through, because you're not just looking at the food, you're also looking at how they present the food, how their servers react to situations, glassware, cutlery,
like, the general like interaction you have with them as a client. And business, right?
So all of those things kind of worked out. They kind of hit the criteria, and that was really like our like way of going about it. They were also by far the most professional, and they invited us to the events that were a lot better in terms of like them mirroring with what we would want. Like, you know, we weren't going to hectic weddings that didn't make sense. We weren't going to really far away places that didn't make sense. So it was, in that sense, it gave us a very like true look at what our wedding could look like. And I think that is what really like sealed the deal. Even though they were like by far one of the more expensive caterers that we could have opted for.
Yeah.
So that is really about our catering. I think, what else do you want to talk about?
I think just like how we curated the menu. So like I think for me, I was really certain that I didn't want like Chinese food because it becomes very Indo-Chinese and I don't like that personally. And then I didn't want like the grills because again, I just as somebody as a guest at a wedding, I've never thought ki, like I want to go and eat that. And then you were very certain that you didn't want to live past the counter. Because Archit was basically like, if I can't be the man behind the counter, I don't want a counter.
Did we not have a live pasta counter?
No.
How do you know?
Because we said we didn't want it. Oh my god, babe, I've been waiting on this joke for so long. Did we not have pasta counter? So yeah, I think like a lot of...
But we had grills.
No.
We had that pork roast thing.
That was different. It was on its own.
Okay.
Yeah. So the food that we kind of ended up going ahead with was obviously the typical like North Indian food that like dal makhani, butter chicken that everybody loves, including us. We did some like Turkish food because it was kind of special to us as a place. I think with the Turkish food, we also did some like Middle Eastern stuff, if I'm not wrong.
Of course, the pizza, sushi.
Yeah, there was pizza, dim sum, sushi, kauswe. So one of the things that we kept saying was that the oldies always want soup, but like nobody who's young ever touches it. So can we make the soup something that's more inviting? So we ended up doing kauswe, which I'm pretty sure the youth also ate. So like the oldies could still have the soupy bits of the kauswe or just have the kauswe if they wanted. But then there was also something that could work for everybody else. And there was one more thing. Did we do like Kashmiri food?
Yeah, we did.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think we did a little bit of Kashmiri. I could be wrong actually. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a while and we never got to eat it or see it or anything.
Yeah. Then we did mirchi ka halwa.
Yeah. And we did some really, like they had some really interesting dishes. Yeah. So like it was a lot of like going over the menu again and again. Our menu was 18 pages long by the end of it. But I think like what you see typically at a wedding is the typical like cuisines.
Yeah.
And the fact that we didn't kind of go down that typical route and we decided to do something of our own, which all the dishes were cohesive to an extent, and that's why it like really worked for us. So like till date, we still have people telling us that the food at our wedding was really good, and we're like, we know, but we didn't get to try it.
We know. We'll take your word for it.
If you're telling us, then sure, it must have been.
It must have been.
Neither of us ever reached the food.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think either of us walked over to that side to even see it. I don't know what it looked like.
Yeah. We had a shadow who kept on feeding us some things, like some snacks.
But like just like quicker food.
But my shadow just gave me a lot of drinks.
No, it was the same shadow. He was giving us food and drinks.
But I was choosing.
Said no to the food every time, and I was like, no, I will eat it.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
And he should have learned. Actually, I was really pissed because the mehendi day I didn't get to eat anything.
Yeah.
So the wedding day, I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna eat.
I actually at the on the mehendi
you
day
ate a lot.
No, I ate one roll.
I didn't even see the rolls.
I had snacks and then
so angry.
Shirin and Akhil and Tamanna and I were together, and then Shirin and Akhil, Shirin Glass guys getting lost with Archit and Shirin. We're recording one right after this. That's also starting, by the way. Just FYI.
Nice.
Natasha doesn't care.
Just spat on me.
And ow.
Sorry.
And they fed us.
Fed you.
Fed me. Anyway, Natasha, last question, and then we'll end this. Top 3 Delhi caterers that you would recommend to any one of our
I named
audience.
them all. So I would recommend our guy, the
TKASE.
The Kitchen Art Company. I'd recommend Salt, SALTT. And I'd recommend Yum Yum Cha.
Yeah.
Oh, their food is so good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. You?
Mine would be Salt, TKAC, but also the guy that we went to Sona Road for.
Yeah, he was all right. Yeah.
I forget his name.
Me too. And I just remembered our mehendi caterers were Khomcha.
Yeah.
And for the chole bhature, my family has a favorite chole bhature. So we're like, if you're doing chole bhature, you need to get chole bhature from this place specifically. So he actually went and managed to organize that. So we got chola bhaturas.
I never ate the chola bhatura.
They were the best. That was the only thing I ate.
Yeah.
That was like when everything was over at like 7 o'clock. I was like, Bhaiya, ek plate chole bhature de do from Nand. And yeah, it was good. Be good.
Awesome.
Anyway.
If you guys like this episode, if you want us to talk more about catering, if you have questions about the wedding, if you want anything really, tell us in the comments.
DM me and I'm going to start charging people at this point.
Fuck right off. First respond to people and then...
We've had this conversation. I sent a 10-point response.
But okay, yes, if you need any consulting, Natasha's open for work.
I'll take a mere salary of 100 rupees.
Yeah, sure. And you know now know that. And and yeah, and if you have any questions, do let us know. We'll start talking about the wedding a lot more. But if not, then next month we're doing some more content around it anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
On that note, and next episode, we won't be in this location.
We better record.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's okay. We're traveling to 2 different places. You don't know where we'll go.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're traveling a lot. So. All right.
Okay,
thank you for that. All right. Bye.
Bye.